It's been exactly a year, well, a little bit more than a year since we saw the first reveal trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, or the sequel to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and it took almost a year to get this trailer fully decoded, especially its chronology, and there's still many mysteries left to uncode from this trailer, but we are ready to talk about what would be if we had a Nintendo Direct. I'm joined today by Monster Maze, who made a brilliant video on the first Breath of the Wild 2 reveal trailer. Definitely go and check it out. But we are ready to talk about the future, or the future that should have been.
First of all, it's crazy that it's already been a year ago. It feels much less. But well, obviously, I think the biggest chance for any big reveal would have been Breath of the Wild 2, since it's the only game as of right now, like the big one that already has been announced. I would have given a bigger chance for Breath of the Wild 2 to be shown this E3 than, for instance, Metroid. Or it's kind of sad to think that at this very moment we could have all been talking about this new trailer, all the new information that came out, maybe even see some gameplay. But instead we have to deal with some more speculation as of right now for the coming months, is my prediction. I think personally it's not going to be earlier than September.
No, that's the earliest by far. The first gaming event that has not been cancelled but will have a digital presence is Gamescom, where you have the opening night with Jeff Keighley, but Nintendo usually tend to have their directs in September. That's where they go over the hardware updates, Nintendo Switch Online updates, and also a few new game reveals. But I'm not sure if that direct is the ideal setting to bring more Breath of the Wild 2 news. Maybe the Game Awards in December would be better, but if there was an E3 2020 Nintendo Direct, I think we would have seen more Breath of the Wild, because the thing about Zelda is that we usually see more information or even reveals of that franchise only at E3, and more trailers or gameplay at the Game Awards, the two biggest or most prestigious events that at least how Nintendo considers it. So what I think we could have seen this year at E3 would have been naturally a trailer, maybe a title reveal, and then the trailer will probably end with 2021. I don't think Breath of the Wild 2 is anywhere close to being finished at this point. And I still think that they just want to take their time, because it looks very much that this game might become the most ambitious Zelda game ever made. Like, you take Breath of the Wild, and then you take the same world, that just puts so much more expectation, so many more demands, because you already have most of the groundwork finished. So you need to expand on everything from story, dungeons, music, voice acting, characters, and so on. So I think that we would have quite maybe story-heavy trailer, actually, if there was an E3. And then I think they would have used the Treehouse to maybe show some very early segments from that cave, but I don't think the game would have been playable.
I also don't think it would be playable, but I do think they would have shown at least some gameplay footage. That is important at this point. Well, we don't know much about the story, but we at least know which direction the story is going in. Like, Ganondorf is coming back, it's gonna be in Hyrule again, something is up with Hyrule Castle. If they want to make a splash, they're not gonna just show another brief story thing. I think the best comparison to make is the 2014 review of the original Breath of the Wild, and then after the first proper trailer we got after that had the gameplay footage. We finally got to see how this world works, how Link can interact with it. I have definitely put my money on, if there was an E3 and if we did indeed get a trailer, it would have included gameplay footage, but it wouldn't have been playable as of yet. I don't think they're ready for this. As you stated, I think you are correct to say that this game probably started out as a simple DLC idea. This is definitely evident from what we see, from the concept art, from everything that they've shown in their thought process while developing Breath of the Wild.
What I think happened to Breath of the Wild 2 is that it's pretty much the same situation as it was with Breath of the Wild. They just got to a certain point and felt like, okay, this game can become so much more than what we are doing right now. And I think at that moment, the game has just grown way beyond our scope and our expectations. Like, if you just think Breath of the Wild, you're not thinking big enough for this game. We're talking about enriching the world of Hyrule, we're talking about expanding on the gameplay, giving more life to the world of Hyrule. Breath of the Wild was a perfect blueprint for exactly that. So I think this trailer would really need to show what has changed in Hyrule itself. Like, we got that little glimpse, a little hint at the end of the reveal trailer, but I think that they would actually focus a lot on how much darker this world has become following Ganondorf's return. And I think that that would be the perfect trailer to do, and then boom, end with 2021. Not point out when the game comes out in 2021, because I think that Zelda games are always subject to change. You never know what's going to happen. Delays happen based on how ambitious the development team is and how much time they need. Like, they will not launch a game that is not finished.
Oh yeah.
They don't do that anymore. So I think that, and when you say that a game is coming out the year after, you don't expect it to be playable. And that's the thing. And the only reason Breath of the Wild was playable at E3 in 2016 was rather simple, and that was that they wanted to promote the Wii U version and show the game again before they revealed the Switch.
Yeah.
So that explains it very simple, and it's also the fact that the game was coming out in March along with the Switch. I think the situation is rather different now, and I'm not going even to go into the changes that have happened or possible delays following the worldwide situation. So yeah, I think that is the best way of pointing at it. I think they would explore the Zonai thread, obviously the hand that Link obtains or fused with in the reveal trailer, and that they put a lot of emphasis, and we would probably see more of short hair Zelda, because she was the star of that trailer, along with Ganondorf. But Ganondorf, he escapes, and we don't know where he's going. He's probably not going to be seen for quite a while after that escape.
Yeah, that remains to be seen. But yeah, I agree that they are probably not gonna make the same mistake they did with the original. Like, it's coming out this year, 2014. Then it was 2016 or 15. Like, they just kept shifting it, and I think they learned from this, and they know not to. Like, if we would get some sort of indication for when it releases, like you said, at the very best they would say 2021. No date attached to it other than that. This game has slowly grown out to be bigger than they anticipated, even when they started development on it. Because since the trailer, it's been eerily quiet. They had the chance to show something at the Game Awards last year in December. They didn't. They probably just weren't ready for it yet. And now, of course, with E3 being cancelled, they have to find a new moment to do it. And with Zelda, like, Zelda is not like Paper Mario. They always want to make a big splash with this stuff. This is not going to be a Twitter drop, even though some people are speculating that maybe that will be the case, but I don't see it happen. And if it does, it would be very anticlimactic, in my opinion, at least.
Like, the thing is that Zelda needs build-up. It needs kind of that shock value, and it needs to happen at the biggest stages. Because Zelda is, well, you could say Mario is the biggest franchise, obviously, and this year is very much dedicated to Mario. It's the 35th anniversary of Super Mario. We're getting a new Paper Mario game. We have the rumored Mario 35th anniversary collection, and I just don't think that they would want Zelda to overshadow that, and that's also another reason why I don't think it would have been playable at E3. They would probably just show it again. It's on track, it's coming, but you're not going to be able to experience it yet. And that is, I think that would have been the strategy at this E3. It would be more teasing and just, it's coming when it's coming. As we also mentioned in the discussion with Roger Space, go and check out that video on the possible E3 Nintendo Direct that we didn't get. We also talked about how the booth would probably have been very Mario themed. So I just think that Zelda would probably have to wait no matter what. And I feel like because of that, and the fact that they will most likely want to launch a new Nintendo Switch model with with Breath of the Wild 2 or sequel to Breath of the Wild, whatever you prefer. Because let's look at the facts here. Breath of the Wild launching March 3rd, 2017, alongside with the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch Lite launched on the same date as Link's Awakening Switch, or Link's Awakening HD if you prefer, September 20th, 2019. And then we have Breath of the Wild and the rumored Nintendo Switch Pro, which I see somewhere in the span of October-November 2021. And it makes sense, because this was not going to be a hardware year. We got that confirmation a long time ago, long before the situation escalated around the world. I just don't think that this would have been Zelda's year, no matter what. Like, we have done a dedicated video on this, talking about what speaks in favor of 2020, well, Zelda 20 for 2020, and what speaks for Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 for the 35th anniversary of the Legend of Zelda franchise. We need to remember one thing here, and that is that the marketing of Zelda is always very heavily tied to the new Nintendo Switch model. And with the Nintendo Switch Lite, there was no reason to wait with revealing Link's Awakening HD, because the resolution would be the same, but this time we're talking about a game that could look significantly better than it does currently on the base model Nintendo Switch. And they would probably want to wait with showing the game again until they can show that leap in the graphics and performance department. I wouldn't be surprised if the next moment we see Breath of the Wild 2 could actually be when we see the reveal of Nintendo Switch Pro. That Nintendo has improved at one specific area, and that's marketing, because they know that Zelda are system seller titles. Zelda is system seller title no matter what, and we saw that with Breath of the Wild, we saw that with Link's Awakening launching the same day as the Nintendo Switch Lite. And I think that there is no better game to launch the Nintendo Switch Pro with, a new Nintendo Switch model, than Breath of the Wild sequel. I think that's the perfect candidate. Pretty much compare the leap of graphics on the Switch from launch day, dual release Switch Wii U, and which makes perfect sense, because you have already the next-gen systems out, and then Nintendo can slowly start building up their big year, which will be 2021. The Zelda year. And that is the beginning. Then before E3, you will reveal the Nintendo Switch Pro and say that it's coming out later in 2021. And then you have E3 2021, which will be all Zelda, and other games that are likely to come on the Nintendo Switch Pro. The focus is going to be very heavily on Nintendo Switch Pro. It will be probably the first E3 in a long time that they actually have focused on hardware, because it's been a while since they did that, actually. So that's how I see it. They will be building up that, then they will once again show it in Nintendo Direct in September, final bundle, Pro bundle for Breath of the Wild 2, since we still have no Zelda theme bundles for the Switch. So that is the perfect build-up, and then launch the game in probably November.
That's my best guess, at least. They wanted to show something this year. They might still show something, but as you said, with Mario and all that stuff, it could get in the way of it. They don't want it to be overshadowed. But yeah, I think the game is in a later stage of development than people think, but that doesn't necessarily mean it would be able to release this year. Because this stuff takes time. It takes time to make something as refined as a Zelda game of this caliber. The Breath of the Wild is the new big seller in the Zelda series. If you look at the sales numbers, it's the first Zelda game to surpass Ocarina of Time by a significant margin, which is very cash in on this. They want this to be a true sequel that feels like a sequel with the same characters, the same world, a more expansive relationship between Zelda and Link, which we already see in the trailer. The two are obviously they have grown close to each other, and I would love to see the dynamic between these two characters. This is the first time we're gonna perhaps even see them working together as a team. Well, if you don't count Phantom Zelda from Spirit Tracks, of course, but that was a little bit different, in my opinion. Playable Zelda, I'm game.
But I think that we will see a lot of surprises with this game. I think that they are holding back for a reason, and it's not just that, well, there's no E3 this year, but it's also the fact that they want to surprise us with this game. And I think the perfect stage to come with that surprise, say that they don't want to wait until E3 because it will just be a few months until release, then I think that the Game Awards is the perfect stage to do that. And just do a proper gameplay like the tradition was in 2014, but also 2016. Just give us a proper gameplay demo and show what is different, what has been refined, and what has been upped. Because Breath of the Wild set a benchmark that open world games are now trying to adapt to, and some have even tried to surpass it. But now it's time for the Zelda team to show, okay, you can try, but we will still be better than you. And that is the perfect way, I think, to bring this game back to the spotlight. So let's just be patient, and in the meanwhile, we'll obviously be making tons of Breath of the Wild 2 videos and give you the information, or at least a vision of the potential of this game, especially with the foundation that they already have from Breath of the Wild, and what they can use the time that they are developing, say if the game is not coming out until holiday 2021. So be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to Commonwealth Realm, but also Monster Maze, or my editor Donny, as I know him best. And it's also been around a year that we have been working together now. And we have another, of course, Breath of the Wild 2 video coming up on Monday that is actually quite fitting to this video right here. So if you don't want to miss it, subscribe and press that shiny notification bell. Anyway guys, we will see you in the next Zelda video. Bye bye!